On the Business Courier front page centerpiece this week, the future of what is arguably one of the most important projects for our region appears to be in the hands of one man, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin. That's leaving some to ask, is the Brent Spence Bridge project dead? Ohio and Kentucky officials and business leaders say they are resigned to the project being on life support, while Bevin tries to keep a campaign promise to avoid paying for the fix with tolls. And they point to a clock expected to start ticking this year on a pot of federal money the states could try to tap into for hundreds of millions of dollars toward construction costs. As for Bevin, he's asked Kentucky lawmakers for $2 million to study both the current plan and potential alternatives. If the current plan is affirmed, Bevin has floated a three-way cost split between Ohio, Kentucky, and the federal government.
And then we are going to pull the trigger. We are going to address this.
While Kentucky completes its fact-finding, transportation officials are going to watch the Federal Highway Administration. It's expected to issue rules before the end of the year on how to spend $4.5 billion in the 5-year transportation bill signed by President Obama this past fall. Business Courier reporter Chris Wetterick has been following the Brent Spence saga and wrote this update. He joins Business Courier publisher Jamie Smith in the studio with more. Jamie and Chris.
Thanks, Peg. Chris, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jamie.
I like to call this the bridge that's going nowhere. now that the new governor is, basically said he's opposed to these tolls, where does that leave the Brent Bridge project? It's hard to say.
It is. It's a little alliteration there. He's looking for a way to keep his campaign promise. I think that's the takeaway you have to have from this. He's asked Kentucky lawmakers to give him $2 million to try to figure out a way to do that. That is all dependent on Kentucky's budget going the way that he wants it to. So you have a potential speed bump right there. So once he gets that $2 million, he's going to look at all the options, including what opponents of the tolls say is called a eastern bypass, which would go around the east side of the region, and they think it would divert traffic from the bridge enough to make it a little bit more, palatable to drive across. So we'll see if he gets that money, and then we'll see what the study says when he gets it. So.
Okay. Well, how does that work into play with the federal pot of money there?
Right.
I'm assuming there's a timeline on that.
It's coming. The timeline is coming, and transportation planners in the region are a little bit worried about that. They know that the feds will write the rules this year on how that money is going to be doled out. It's $4.5 billion in one pot, and there's a potential other pot that the states could tap into for this project. So they want to make sure that they get that piece, and so they're hoping that the worlds align and his study is done and this rules are written at the same time so they can go in and get some of that for this project.
Now the group Northern Kentucky United that's against the tolls, have been fighting against the tolls, they would say the project's dead. Is it dead?
That was something I really tried to get a handle on as we reported the story, and I think the best description is it is on life support. They feel like they have fought this thing and they have won. We don't know what the governor is going to do, but he made some pretty big promises to them. Number one, that he would not have tolls on that bridge, and number two, that he would look at whether it needed to be scaled down. And so, time will tell whether they are right or not.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating story. It looks deep into it. I know it talks a little bit about the safety of the bridge, but the bridge isn't going to fall. But I think one of your lines from OK Iowa said the bridge isn't going to fall, but cars may fall.
Right. I mean, it's a safety issue. There's no emergency lanes. The visibility is not great, and then you're packing about 155,000 cars on it a day. So.
All right. Well, thanks. I'm sure we'll be continuing to write about this.
We will.
All right. Great. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Peg, back to you.
All right. As always, good reporting. Thanks, Jamie and Chris.